The Lighthouse Factory Podcast. The Lighthouse Factory Podcast. Hello, and thank you for joining us on today's episode of the Lighthouse Factory Podcast. We're your hosts, Brian and Marlon Benavides, and we are super excited that you have joined us today because there are a few things that I appreciate from an artist beyond just their talent, two of which are their drive and their dedication. And today's guest is not only hilarious, but he's also extremely hardworking and someone who, in my opinion, has the characteristics needed to be successful. Not only does he have experience hosting and performing at various venues throughout DC, Maryland, and Pennsylvania, he's acquired thousands of followers on social media the last few years, starred in several viral videos, and acted on stage plays and much more. Please welcome comedian, social media personality, actor, and frankly, overall entertainer, Omar Terrell, aka Hilarious Omar.
Hey, yeah. What's going on?
Now that's an intro. I like that. That's the way to walk in.
That's how you do it, man. You gotta let everybody know. Hey, I'm in here, motherfuckers.
I arrived.
So, Omar, I'm a strong believer that you can't really teach hungry. And you, my friend, strike me as someone who has fought and is fighting to better your situation, increase your reach, and make a positive impact while maintaining what appears to be an appreciation for everything that has brought you here today. That's frankly one of the reasons that I was so eager to get you on, because I think, again, you can't teach hungry, and you show that you put out a lot of work to what is, from my perspective, a pretty challenging industry. I want to start from the beginning and we'll kind of go from there, but I want people to know a little bit more about you, how you started, what kind of kicked things off for you, when you decided to say, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to walk on stage and make people laugh.
Yeah, man. So I guess, started from just knowing that you were funny when I was a kid. My whole family was always joking, clowning, joking. They were much rougher and harsh with their delivery, but it was lots of level of humor. And watching different comedy specials like Martin Lawrence's You So Crazy and Def Jam. Yeah. I got exposed to that early on, but I never knew I was going to be a comedian. Just as life went on and different experiences, some people I came encounter with were like, man, you like the funniest motherfucker I ever met in my life. Excuse my French. So when it came time for decision making and career, I was very interested in pursuing comedy. I started to watch it more. I started to just understand not the beauty from it from the audience perspective, but from being the performer. So I just went out there and took a stab at it at a school I went to. Almost started a riot.
Wait. Explain that. How'd that happen?
So they had a talent show, and I went up to the talent show, and for starters, I was entering writing like 2 weeks. So I was writing for 2 weeks, like jokes and stuff. So I'm walking through the student union, and I heard about the contest or the MU's Got Talent, which is Millersville University, which is one of the schools that I attended. And somebody was like, yeah, the talent show's today. I was like, it's today? So I ran back, threw my books in my dorm, put on like some, I didn't even have like a wardrobe or a style. So I had like a North Face fleece on with jeans and a backwards hat. And I went back up there, had my cue cards in my hand, trying to hide them, you know what I mean? But never touched a microphone before. I get up there and I kill it. And I'm watching the whole show. They had like a magician, a couple other acts. And I'm like, man, as much as I made these people laugh, I know I'm about to win something.
Confidence is key.
So they started off with the third place, second place, and then first place. I'm like, oh, that's got to be me. And it wasn't. And when I tell you I had the whole place in tears, I lost because I wasn't supposed to use foul language or derogatory stuff towards handicapped.
That's crazy. When did they tell you that? How'd you find out that that's what led to that?
Just right after it was over. Like I kind of stuck around. I'm like, hey, I seen the other acts, and
They weren't that good. What's up?
they weren't that good. What did I do? Like, I had to do something wrong. Like, yeah, you got disqualified. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, you cursed. You said stuff about the handicap, and yeah. But good job. You were funny. All right, bye bye.
So what was like next step there? Did that deter you from anything, or were you just like, oh no, I killed it. I gotta keep doing
I
this.
really knew I killed it. I was just more so like young and dumb and just irrational. But
And you had never done an open mic before?
never.
So you literally just wrote some stuff and went on stage and did that?
Correct. So after that, I was somebody had recorded the video of that and put it out in the school. So the whole school was like, yo, you're funny as shit, bro. Because I ended up roasting somebody in the crowd too. And that's what sent people over the top. So,
it's funny because I've seen you do a lot of those roast videos. I was actually looking at the other day, some of your older videos where you have hecklers coming up and you just went in, tore some people apart. And I was just dying because you were confident, straight. I'm gonna keep going,
right.
And it made me laugh. But it goes back to kind of what I was thinking about earlier. Is like you've frankly been described as having a straightforward comedic approach that you address both kind of the funny social commentaries with kind of some of those roasting videos and things that you've done, but also touch on race relations and society. And there's this interesting balance there of what I'm watching, and I'm curious how you developed kind of your method or decided on some of the topics that you wanted to talk about or put out there.
Yeah, I have like a fuck what they doing, I'm doing this approach. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I'm my own guy. I always have been. I'm very like, if you tell me I can't do something or you say that this is not going to happen, I've always pushed the boundaries, or at least I always had something to say back when I didn't see things were right. And in comedy is truth. The funniest stuff is the truth. And it's like when you're a comedian and you take the approach of the truth, that's the highest level of difficulty when you talk in comedy, because you're talking about topics that not only are they sensitive, but on top of that, the disagreeing. So you're like starting from a place. You're giving, like, how do I word it? It's like giving people a head start not to fuck with you. So if you can get people to fuck with you or be on your side, you know that you are pretty damn dope at what you do.
So with some of your material, do you test it out with someone? Do you run it by someone? Or do you kind of say, hey, this is what I'm doing, I think this is going to be good, and you just go to your next show and put it out there?
Yeah, so I tested out on my lady. Like, she's been around me for a while. So if, if I can... For one, I'm not going to come at her. There's certain jokes that I've came at her with, and she's like, that's not funny. But typically those jokes are like really dark, or they're sexual, and I do take it over the top.
It's funny because I feel like, and Marlon, I don't know how much you run some of your art by your lady, but for myself, like when I was working on music, it was kind of intimidating for me to kind of share the music. I was more comfortable going on stage than going to someone intimate and say, hey, how do you feel about that? And that was kind of a challenge for myself, actually.
I mean, for me, showing art to anyone close to me, I'd rather show it to a stranger and see what they have to say, because they're going to be a little bit more, they're going to filter themselves, I guess. And like, I'd rather take that than family. Family, it's usually going to be like, just show me when you're done. Show me when you're done. Or, is it done yet? You're going to do a little bit more? No, I'll wait. So, I mean, for me, I'd rather do a stranger than going to somebody I love. I couldn't imagine going to Lachey and being like, Lachey, what do you think about this? Because she'd tear me up. She'd tear it up.
So you've been doing this for how long, Omar?
I've been doing stand-up for 10 years. I've been doing social media, being an influencer and a comedian online for 4 years. In July, it'll be 4 years.
How do you feel about kind of the social media piece? And I think I found that there's often kind of a misconception that views mean money or views mean success. And I'm kind of always curious to hear how you feel about the growth process. And I guess if you figured out at what point things kind of took off for you to where you're like, okay, I'm going to spend a good amount of time on this social aspect of things, so the social media aspect of things.
So, bro, it's crazy because as soon as I came back, so I used to live in Chicago, and like I was with my baby mom. she was like, yeah, comedians are fucking clowns. And I was like, no, we're not. And she was like, yes, you are. And then I left. And when I came home, like, so basically she wasn't in support of the dream. She was like, you need to hurry up and shake that shit out of your system and be a man and be a millionaire and take care of me and your son. When I moved back to the East Coast, I was like, now that I've got that barrier out of my way, I am going to give it everything I got. So here's the thing: when you say you're going to give it everything you got, you gotta go to the gas station and put more gas in the car, because it's such a long journey. You're going to have so many hiccups, and you just got to make sure you keep refueling. But nevertheless, when I came back to the East Coast, I just went on social media and just started living, forward towards my dream. And the first thing that happened was I landed a McDonald's commercial, like in my new Revolve search for being the best I could be. So I started using Instagram and taking videos, little dumb videos. I'm like, man. So I just started hashtagging different ones, and McDonald's came out with this McPick 2 selection.
2.
Let me get a McPick 2. So there was like a compilation of different people online that recorded themselves doing it. They liked my clip so much, they put me on 2 streamed commercials, like 2 different campaigns. So that was like a sign for me, like, okay, yeah. And then after that, I came up with the strategy to start imitating different accents from different places. And I was like, if I can impersonate these major accents from all these different places, I'll be able to integrate their city, and my face will be like, known throughout the country. So my method was as many things that I could reenact and impersonate, I'll be able to like somehow, some way connect to somebody there, and like my name will spread, if that makes sense.
You're scheming, you're applying
it. You have to find the strategy. What is your lane?
Yeah.
Everybody has a different lane. Some people, they are overnight successes and people gravitate to them right away. Then there's other people that are like overlooked. And like there's a huge spectrum in between all of that. So for the most part, I feel like I haven't been overlooked, but people just don't know who I am. As far as the umbrella of all of what I cover, it's so many things. Most successful people on the internet, they do one thing very well and they keep doing that over and over and over again. Whereas as me, I have so many different layers and tiers of my talent when it comes to being, doing comedy. It causes people to be like, what's this? What's that? What's this? What's that? All of it's great, but
no, I'll say this. One, I'm a Ravens fan, and your Baltimore accent got me the first time. I was dying.
Damn it, yo, Brian, I ain't gonna lie to you, yo. You's a cool motherfucker for real, yo. What is you Spanish for real? Puerto Rican? you a Rican? Matter of fact, you Dwayne Johnson type shit, right? You that Samoan. You Samoan, right?
Yo, no lie. Someone stopped me in DC one day and just stared at me for a good 5 minutes. I said, hey, you Samoan? And I was like, no, not at all. He was like, you look Samoan, and just walked away smiling. I was like, what's that? So random.
Man.
No, but yeah, so I definitely get that. I think what you were talking about a moment ago is being kind of multifaceted, not sticking only to one niche. And I think that's one of the things I noticed about you, where I think, like I said in the beginning, you're an overall entertainer, dude. You're a funny guy. You have a presence. And I remember, and I don't think a lot of people know this, but when you and I first met was like almost, we talked about it the other day, almost 14 years ago with Aida, and here walks in this group of athletes. It's kind of intimidating, but you had this like really charming presence. You have this very charismatic presence. To me, that's something that I feel like you could walk into a room and people are like, who's this guy? And I feel sometimes it takes the right person to be in that room, or to run across one of those videos like McDonald's to be able to say, oh, yo, no, he has something. And to me, it's kind of exciting to watch when those things happen, because I think there's a lot of challenges across the path. And sometimes it takes just hitting one person to help you take things to the next level. So it's a long way of saying that I think that you have a lot of what it takes, but I'm also curious to hear what those challenges have been. So I know sometimes you get overlooked, sometimes you may not have that opportunity, but what were the things that you found the hardest when doing stand-up or doing social? Is it managing your time? Is it finding a gig? Is it finding the right content? What did you find the hardest?
I think the hardest part is finding the funny. First, you got to find the funny. Like, you got to get so good to where when you get booked, you're ready for whatever audience is coming out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's almost like boxing. I look at stand up like boxing. Like, you are afraid every fight, but you can't let them know that. You can't be, it's a fight. Anything can happen, and you got to just make sure you're training yourself to be best prepared. Whether it's being long winded, whether it's being pow 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 5-7 minutes straight firepower. I would say the hardest aspects are just staying disciplined and keeping up with your craft. And even beyond that, I want to say being dedicated for the long haul. A lot of people, I've seen a lot of people quit stand up since I've been in it. I'm 10 years in. I've seen a lot of people with great potential forfeit because now that the game is changing, for one, there's limited opportunities with comedy, with stand up. And when I say limited in the sense of everybody might not be a star, but you can still use your craft to keep going. So there's different stories. Like, some people will write for a network like Comedy Central versus being the front runner guy that's always in movies and stuff. But if you don't know about that, how likely could you be in the desk or the talks of somebody at a Comedy Central? You got to go. You got to put yourself around those people. And when it comes to comedy, motherfuckers are broke. A lot of comedians, especially when you're good, man, there's parts of you that are kind of crazy. You know what I mean? You got to be crazy to believe in something that it's not guaranteed. Anything in the world that you believe in is not guaranteed. You have to have some level of crazy to you, and develop like an equivocal belief that this is destiny, if that makes sense.
Yeah, especially now in the PC culture that we have right now, you kind of have to be unafraid and just step outside yourself sometimes just to be able to push yourself in any artistry, especially stand-up, I feel.
Well, stand-up, man, people throw shit at you when you're on the stage. It never happened to me, but I hear stories all the time.
It's the only job that I know of where people find it in themselves that regardless of whether or not it's their show or not, they have something to say and they'll say it to the comedian while they're upset. Heckling to me is the one thing I don't think any other job could deal with ever.
Which, Marlon, you got to watch this if you haven't already. Omar just kills it. He really does.
Nah, because I've been to a lot of open mics. I mean, the one that I remember going to a lot in DC is in DuPont. Is in the Beer Baron, and people heckle all the time. It's a bunch of amateurs on there stepping on stage, and people yelling and screaming across the bar and stuff. It's just ridiculous. I couldn't imagine having a job where people find it funny to yell at you while you're doing your job.
Omar, how with everything that you just said, how do you manage to stay motivated? Is there someone that motivates you or that helps push you through? Is it kind of a strategy or tactic that you've developed for yourself to say, these are some of the things when I start feeling like it's difficult that I do? Or is it just an innate thing where you're like, you know what, it is what it is, I'm going?
Are you talking about when I'm doing stand-up? Like,
no, not so much stand-up, just like overall. Let's say you have a bad show, or you have someone who's just heckling, or the money's not there, or things aren't popping up. Like, how do you stay motivated? Like, you mentioned that a lot of comedians are broke. How do you keep going knowing that you're struggling that way?
I rob niggas. It's like, nah. Nah, man. I just persevered. Like, okay, so now I have a 9-to-5. I have a career.
Yeah.
I sell car warranties for a living, and I make pretty decent money.
Okay.
So prior to this, everything's been up and down. Like, when I was younger, I was working at Enterprise. Enterprise doesn't go hand in hand with comedy. Like, hey, welcome to Enterprise. You know what I mean? It's a different world for both. And when I would do Enterprise, it would mess with my authenticity, because Enterprise was like, you have to be like a damn near a robot. You know what I mean? And then in this world, it's like, the looser you are and the more authentically yourself you are, the more successful. So it made me like say, fuck that. I'm gonna do comedy. I don't care if I starve. You know what I mean? I might be exaggerating, but nevertheless.
Maybe too much background story here. It's like me and Marlon didn't come from being well off financially, and it's not like we had everything in the world. And there was things that were hard for us at times where we used to heat up. And Marlon, if you remember the story, we used to heat up old stale bread in the microwave for like 5 seconds
It's
just to get it
brand
soft
new
enough
after that.
where you felt to know,
And you got
you
no,
felt you
got
could eat it. I used to make sandwiches with just tomato slices and pretend it was bologna. So I wasn't like, oh,
you
I'm
got
still
no
hungry.
cheese, putting Parmesan powder on top of it.
Yeah, man.
But it's one of these things where we got to a point where I said, like, if I got to be up at 5 a.m. and go to sleep at 1 a.m. working and grinding, I'm going to do it. And that goes back to what I was saying in the beginning. I don't think you can teach hunger, and some people just have that. And I don't really know much about how you came up or anything like that. And we don't have to go into too much detail about any of that, but it's something where I think that some people have it and know it. And some people have struggled with it, but have figured out ways to get through it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, man. Like right now. So on social media, they have what's called a shadow ban. If you like right now, my page is currently shadow banned. 2 days ago, nothing was wrong with my account. A shadow ban is when they suppress the amount of following that you have and how many of them can see what you post. So normally my videos, when I post like an IG video, IGTV video, normally I get anywhere between 20,000 and 36,000 people watching when I post. Right now, I have a video up that's been up for almost an hour. It has one comment and it has like maybe 88 views or something crazy like that. So when you start talking political, there's always a consequence for it when it goes against whatever
the status
the
quo
media supports. Exactly. So right now I'm facing that. Prior, I was making videos that's straight funny. I just started, as time went on, I'm like, I've invested so much of myself into this. People and fans and supporters need to know who I really am.
Yeah.
And as time went on, I started getting more comfortable. Like, listen, if I'm going to put myself on this platform and have this much exposure to who and what I do, I might as well share, hey, I stand for something too. You know what I mean? Just keep giving people value. There's a lot of valueless things in the world and valueless personalities in the world. And people have bought into those valueless things. And it's like, yo, if I give the people value, I'll have fans and supporters for life. You know what I'm saying? And then that magnifies into, other things. I'm all about building. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to blow up. You can't blow up by yourself. Whether it's a new job blew you up, your wife, your family, inspiration from somewhere. Nature and everything in the world grows by an underneath push to the top. So if that's building a pyramid, that's building fans, that's building family, whatever.
Sounds like you're talking about racketeering.
Wiz Khalifa Lab. Yeah.
Do you remember your first open mic?
Yeah, I was horrible.
Where was it at? Here in the DMV?
My first open mic was in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. It was at the Comedy Zone. And I wasn't horrible, but I seen myself on video and I knew that's not where I was going to be able to make money and affect the people. It was like a lot of growing pain. I wanted to be so funny, so bad, so fast. And it's like a journey to be that good. You know what I mean? You really have to put in time to be great at stand-up. Knowing how to say, what to say, knowing how to mind fuck the audience per se sometimes, throw jokes that, it's just so many. Like I said, it's like boxing. If you were in the gym and you were learning how to box professionally, there's so many different angles. It's almost like a puzzle or chess. And in comedy, it's a comedian's job to be the smartest guy in the room, even if he's not, if that makes sense.
And have you had that aha moment where, where you can walk on stage and say, I got this crowd this time, or I have it tonight?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's times when you're on fire and it's like, yo, I can't even believe I'm saying this. Like, it's going boom, 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 boom. Everything that's coming out of your brain is connecting through your mouth. And it's like the crowd is, or the audience is just at the edge of their seat. Like, this dude is amazing. That's a great feeling. But when I first started stand up, I didn't get too many of those.
Nah.
A good one laugh a set was like, man, I ain't bomb. You bombed though. You did. It wasn't good.
Do you have a joke right now that you walk on stage and you're like, I'm gonna say it and it's gonna kill?
Yeah.
What's that one?
It's different ones for different crowds, but I used to, when I was younger, I used to say a joke really, really dark. It's so fucked up.
Those are the best ones. That's the best one.
What did I say? I think it was something along the lines of it was during the era where the Mega Millions was ridiculous. It was like $1 billion or some shit. I was saying, man, if I hit the lotto, I would do. A lot of people talk about what they'd do good with the money. I fuck the money up. I'm not gonna lie to you. I never been rich. I was like, I'm going through $1 million. I'm going through at least $1 million my first year. I'm just saying. I was like, it was either my first year or first month having the money. I'm spending $1 million. I'm just gonna throw it in the river. I'm just doing dumb shit, right?
Yeah, DuckTales. That
so
shit.
I was like, I go through McDonald's drive-through with a jet. Yeah, slide my number one down the wing, please. Just dumb shit. So I was like, there's a lot of women in here right now that have had babies, but they're no longer with us. Y'all know who you are, you murderers. Talking about abortions, right? I was like, if I won the lottery, I open up a business just for y'all. I said, I'll have a child daycare center with an abortion clinic built inside of it. That way I can take care of your kids, whether you want them or not.
I don't know if you can see my face right now. I think I turned purple.
I can take care of your kids, whether you want them or not. A child daycare center with an abortion clinic inside it.
Yo.
So that joke I used to say that, and that shit used to be like, people were like, they were dead, like both in laughter and like, I cannot believe this motherfucker just said that. Whoa.
Well, you know what? That's a good segue to a question that I always have. I think it's
that's a segue question.
Yeah, I'll explain.
I'll have an abortion clinic. Let's segue to.
No, there's this weird balance of like
dial.
Certain jokes where you're like, oh, is that too far? And I think there's a lot more sensitivity about that today than there was, let's say, back in 2006, right? I'm curious, like, if you run into those things where people come to your post or to you after a show and say, yo, that was too far. Like, yo, I don't appreciate that. Does that happen often now? Do you feel like there's more sensitivity now, or is it just...
It's way more sensitivity. It's so sensitive now that comedians don't even try certain jokes anymore, like, or touch certain topics. So I got that type of backlash like earlier on. Like once I started to find my gift, I would start to not, like I would know what routines were more at risk than others. So anytime I'm going into the, you know, at the time, because there was so much gay dominance in the world and gay support in the world, I'm like, there goes some material. You know what I mean? Like I'm a thinker. I don't really move in a way that I care about. My number one thing is make people laugh. The sensitivities, and that's the thing, the sensitivities, if a comedian's being honest about their opinion or how they feel, then the sensitivities go out the window, if that makes sense. Because it's not coming from a heart, it's coming from a place of art. So even if it was a Klan member in an attempt to be funny and talk about lynching of Black people, he wouldn't want to do that but in a crowd of Black people. But wherever that is in that world, that people like that, I feel like he should be able to speak that, because that's clearly in him, whether it's right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? So he's either going to change it or not be able to do comedy because nobody's fucking with that shit. But the overall ability to say what you want to say out of your mind in the name of comedy, in the name of attempting to be funny, you should be able to attempt to do that and give the people the ability to say whether they receive it and like it or don't want it.
I think it's important for people to have the opportunity to be genuine. Look, there's things that people say that I don't agree with. At the same time, I think people have a right to an opinion. If I don't like it, I don't want to be a part of it, then I don't like it and I'm not a part of it. But I think part of being an artist requires a level of authenticity and being genuine in your expression, if that makes sense.
Yes, sir. Thank you, baby. My lady just brought me a beverage.
What you got?
I believe that this is it's a rather crispy beverage. That was the wrong reference. I apologize. Crisp. I'm going to say a crisp beverage, and I'm going to partake. I wish, see, I can't see it. So
I can hear it. Sounds like a Sprite commercial.
I want to go beyond the comedy for a second because you've done more than just the social media, more than just the stand-up comedy. You've dabbled in on stage and being an actor. And I'm kind of curious how that fell in place. If that's something you said, I want to try this to kind of expand, or someone reached out to you. How'd that happen?
So yeah, like 2 years ago, man. All right, so I want to say 5 years ago, I got my first acting job. It was a award-winning independent film writer by the name of Nash Bat. He's a dude from like the Middle East who lives in America, and he had production when I first started comedy, and he got those awards when I first started comedy, coincidentally. So he seen one of my shows and was like, dude, I want to use you in a movie one day. 3 years later, the movie was actually ready. We shot it, and people said I did a really good job. I missed the movie premiere, and he still has a DVD with my name on it at his house. And he's probably waiting on my address. So I still have not seen the full movie. I've seen clips, but that's it. However, fast forward, so 2 summers ago, due to my perseverance in doing social media and building my characters up, so like the Baltimore dude, the DC dude, I got a grandfather character that I use, and just all these different things that I do. So I was reached out to by a director, and she was shooting a film Really Love. So she emailed me, and I'm like, this is fake. There's no way. Because at the time, it was like, I was down and out, facing like depression due to like life and everything. And I was really deciding whether I was going to leave comedy alone for like a year or two to get my real life together because of all the sacrifice, or whether I was going to keep going. And just so happened, I opened up this email one day, and it's a shot at a movie. Like literally, I didn't have to audition or anything. This scene was for Omar Terrell. So I'm like, this is BS. There's no way this is true. Why me? Why you want me? There's plenty of people out here. And when they showed me who was on the cast of this movie, it was like, okay, are you serious? So on the cast of this movie, you have Michael Ealy. You know who Michael Ealy is?
Mm-hmm.
Michael Ealy, Blair Underwood, Crazy Eyes from Orange is the New Black. I don't know how to pronounce her real name. I don't want to mess it up either. But Crazy Eyes from Orange is the New Black. Kofi Cerebo, who's a rising star. He's in a hit drama called Queen Sugar, and all these different people, man. And then, it was my first time being on set. So I get there, and I didn't believe it until I actually got there. And I seen, cop cars, people in patrol uniforms, escorting the different acts on stage and doing the film production. And I'm like, this is crazy. Dude tapped me on the left side of my shoulder and said, hey, man, what would you like to eat? I'm like, there's food here? He's like, yeah. He was like, yeah, what do you want? I was like, I mean, what do you have? He was like, whatever you want. I was like, are you sure? He's like, I mean, pretty much.
See, I don't know what I would do with that. That's like that $1 million. If I won $1 million today, if I walked on set and someone said, Brian, what do you want to eat? Like, what?
It was crazy, man.
What are you talking about?
I realized that acting is something that's natural to me, like with given effort and belief. You know what I mean? When I did Aida, I had my mind and my vision wasn't connected to it. But knowing what I've built now, through all those clips and things like that, I am solidified. Like all it would take is for the opportunity to be there, and I think I could like be a solidified, actor in the entertainment world. Like not like one of those comedians that like they're trying to be an actor. Literally, like Omar Terrell's in that kid's crazy. You seen this guy? Like I feel like I could do the movie thing when I'm being the young older parent, if that makes sense, and a kid family movie. Or just a plethora of things, man. I just feel like the sky's the limit, and I feel like there's a lot of major things coming down the road.
That's awesome. Well, how do you navigate that industry? I mean, the acting roles. Do you have someone who represents you? Do you go at it completely independent? Do you reach out or audition on your own? Do you wait for people to reach out to you? What's your play now?
Well, honestly, I mean, I didn't have any representation when that first movie role came. You know what I mean? They pretty much found me. Here's the thing. After a certain level in comedy and social media and everything, after a certain point in time, you get certain eyes on you. So people are watching you like shit. Like whether they hit the follow button or not, that's another story. But if I'm consistently getting 20,000 to 35,000, 40,000 views every time I'm posting a video, There's a lot of people that I call them peekaboo motherfuckers. Peekaboo. You don't want to genuinely follow because it's gonna hurt your statistics on your little page. But you always coming over here to say, what y'all doing?
Mm-hmm.
What he doing? Oh, let me get out of here. Oh, he almost caught me. He almost see me looking. You know what I mean? It's weird, man. Hit the fucking follow button.
So
gonna be here anyway.
Quick plug here. Where do we follow?
You gotta follow me at I am Omar Terrell on IG, baby.
There you go. There you have it. Just want to put that out there. Listen, I guess with all that we're talking about, I think there's a lot of things going on for you. I'm looking forward to see a lot of the things that you have coming out. And frankly, the stuff that you're already putting out, it makes me laugh. I spend a lot of time and I've enjoyed, for what it's worth, some of the things that you've done late night and talking more, not so much comedy, but just life and allowing people to get to know you. You talked about providing value and letting people get to know who you are. What would you say, while we have the microphone on you right now, what do you want people to know about you? What are some of the things that you would really want people to hear?
Things that I would really want people to hear. First and foremost, I want people to know that when you support anybody, make sure whoever you support is giving you value. And from that value that they're giving you is going to make you a person that gives value. When you support things that don't give back, you essentially won't be the person that gives back either. Things go hand in hand in this world. And I think that the difference between me and where I'm coming in life now is I'm approaching just a different manifestation in who I am. I want people to be happy. Happiness and love is like the number one thing I think people are missing right now. So with that, we work towards this happiness factor.
Yeah.
That means we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, not what we want to do. And everybody just unifies, man. If the quality of life, I promise you, will change. Today I gave a speech just off the top of the head from the heart for that girl that just passed, Dariana Dyson, 15-year-old, first Maryland adolescent to die from COVID-19. Right. And when I seen it, it hurt because it was just a series of things. There were videos going viral of all the Black people in Baltimore outside partying together as if Corona said, all right, I guess I'm going to go ahead and head back to, no, it didn't do that. And it messed with me. It bothered me. So I spoke at her candlelight visuals from 4 to 6. And to see, the area was in a place that, is a project, so it wreaked poverty. And just to see the amount of people that I believe live in hopelessness. When you take away somebody's hope or a community's hope, they're broken. Mm-hmm. You can pretty much do anything you want with them. And I seen a lot of hopelessness today, and just in the eyes and the spirits of the people. And I have to be mindful in my approach that some people are so damaged and so scarred that I can end up damaging or hurting myself trying to just lend hand, opportunity, and love to everybody. You can end up crushing yourself. So I definitely in this approach have to be very mindful of how I move and what in my efforts of what I've done, I feel like I'm draining the energy. I'm sorry. I apologize.
No. I think I frankly appreciate it. I think it's things to talk about. I think one of the things that I may have mentioned to you sooner, and Martin and I have spoken about, is part of this game of kind of artistry. I remember when I was kind of considering, what do I want to do? How do I want to go about this? Is you get a lot of this glamour, this pretty, these Photoshop photos of you being outside at events and all this stuff. And frankly, it was a conscious effort of being able to say, I don't want to post this. Maybe this is too intimate, or I don't want to post this because this looks a certain way and I want to make sure I look this way. Look, I'm a guy who's very optimistic. I'm all about positivity and keeping moving forward. And that's just part of who I am. I think a lot of people will tell you that I'm someone that's always going to try to find a way to continue to move forward and try to bring people with. But I think it's important to have these conversations, to talk about these things. And like you mentioned earlier, you were a different person a few years ago, and you've grown and changed today. I like to ask this question: What would you have liked to know sooner about either yourself or the journey? If you could go back and say, I just, for me, I'll give you an example. For me, it was, Brian, just be genuine, and the industry is going to be the industry, and people are going to be the way they want to be, but you just got to stick to your gut. And frankly, I was trying to mix two genres of music. Back then, people were like, maybe not so much. And right now, you listen to the radio, it's everything that we were trying to do, which is kind of hilarious to me. But at the same time, it's like, damn, Brian, why'd you give up? You know,
Timing is everything, man.
Yeah.
That the people that are doing what you're doing, they probably started the race when you did,
right?
And they were the ones that, you know, in essence, took the lead, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. And that's why I said it, like,
or got the right opportunity that you that might have slipped, but all because you were in one room and they were in another, if that makes sense.
So what was the thing that you would have liked to know sooner, or you had someone tell you, hey, just pay attention to this?
I wish I had known that you need money to win in entertainment. You have to have a certain amount of capital. If you don't have that, whether it's capital, investment, you have to have some money from somewhere to invest in your career. Mm-hmm. If you don't have it, your visibility is going to be shot. People aren't going to respect what you do, even if it is amazing. People don't want, and it sounds weird, but social media has made people not want to support even the most valuable things. And then in the same breath, support things that are not valuable, that mean nothing. So, and that's not all social media's fault, but we've been groomed to like dumb everything down. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you look at what's funny online today, it's very simple. It takes no effort, it takes no talent. It just takes, you know, what are you willing to do? Wild, wacky, whatever. And and it's like, for me, I love comedy so much. The shit that I'm doing is timeless. That's why, you might have 2 million followers or 1 million followers, but that machine got you there. With me, my shit is organic. So there's just so much value. Once that value, it's just like comedy, hip hop industry, whatever. It's just like going overseas to Africa and extracting diamonds. Now, to the Africans, those diamonds are just rocks. But to the people outside of that, those diamonds are valuable. And they can take these regular, simple rocks that are worthless to the people that they're getting the rocks from, but they put them out there and sell them on diamonds and wedding rings, $50,000, $90,000, $80,000. And that's, when it comes to you as an artist, you got to put that value on yourself. If you don't put that value on yourself, just say you are the diamond and you selling it. Like, some people aren't the diamond and they're selling themselves as a diamond. But then you got diamonds, you got people that are diamonds and they're underground. They haven't been dug up yet. So for me, I'm right in between. Motherfuckers see me sticking out.
Yeah.
There's just a little dirt on me.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's pick it up a little bit here. I want to know what you have going on today. What should I be looking out for? What's down the pipeline for you?
Let's see. So I got a message earlier today from one of the producers, and I'm going to say this again. I know we mentioned it earlier, but my social media is on the shadow ban, so I'm probably not going to be posting either for a week. I'll be posting, but nothing important for about a week until they take that shadow ban off. But let me see. I got a message from, I believe, my guy Leon. And Leon's a super producer. He produces movies for BET. Now he's working with me to make sure that my work looks good. But just know there's a series of funny ass things that I'm doing sketch wise, and y'all are gonna be entertained. And then my YouTube, I'm basically pushing everything to my YouTube. We're about to have merchandise. Man, we're about to take it there, man.
Yeah, I mean, that's where
Valuable Village is a group that I'm starting on Facebook, basically for like-minded people that want to know more about the culture, more about, investing in self and staying in a positive, motivated mindset of love. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So it's a lot, man. It's a lot happening. I'm writing my first film this summer.
Nice.
Comedy?
I've already started on the project. Say it again.
Is it going to be a comedy?
For starters, yeah. So I got something that I wrote a while ago called 90-20. Basically, it's a story of my life, and I put it in movie form, but it could be broken down in a series as well.
Dude, that's really exciting. I can't wait to kind of see what you have coming down the pipeline once this ban goes away. But I want to give you kind of a shot here to say if there's anything that you want to talk about that we haven't already talked about. Would love to hear it.
Yeah, man. So first and foremost, when it comes to this quarantine, I'm so glad that the toilet paper raid is over. Everybody's running out of. Everybody wanted. How much ass is on the planet? It made you think, like, oh man, like if you went during quarantine, like when it first came out, like when COVID first started, being in people's system. This shit is crazy. Mask, gloves, hand sanitizer. What happened to soap? Number one, I mean, why does everybody straight hand sanitizer? It's some fucked up hands gonna come out of quarantine. Trust me.
Well, look, I'll say this, Omar. I'm looking forward to great things from you. I think you got what it takes to do a lot of amazing things, and I'm just glad you spent the time with us today to talk about some of these things, because I'm very optimistic that you're going to make a big impact in a lot of ways for a lot of people. So thank you.
Especially since I stopped smoking crack.
Yeah, that's good. That's always good.
That's step one.
We need a hood classic too, man. I'm working on writing a movie, and right now I gotta kind of like. I'm glad that I got this shadow band that I guess I'm dealing with, because I need to fade away for a second, like a week or two. I need to. I've been pumping so hard on social media.
I don't know how you do it, man. Like I see you all the time, all the time. You got your 9 to 5, and then it's just like you going to sleep at like 4 a.m. I seen it.
I'm grinding, man. Like I refuse to live any day not like, with everything I got. So as long as God keeps giving me the energy, I'm gonna keep on using it. But I do have to realize that I gotta think smarter, and I can't keep this pace up forever. You know what I mean? And I just want it so bad, you know what I mean? Like right now in this moment, I'm so close to 100K, and I've always wanted to achieve that on this platform, because it's so hard, because you don't have a simple share button. Like for people to see your shit, they got to repost your shit for it to really expand. And that's like going into like 3 different apps and shit, you know what I'm saying? So people have been advising me to use TikTok though. You guys are going to think I'm bullshitting, but I come to you, no lie. So 3 months before they dropped TikTok and opened it up to everybody and made it as big as it is, they had recruiters from TikTok going on Instagram, scouting out all the talent on Instagram and bringing them to their platform to basically drive traffic to their platform. So they hit me up and like early on. So I thought it was weird, because the page that hit me up didn't say TikTok. He was just a representative of TikTok, and he was basically saying that your content looks great. You're very funny and entertaining. I watch your videos for several hours, and I am so and so. I'm from TikTok, a new platform we've just launched, or just recently bought out Musically, and we're about to launch our platform, and we want you to be one of the featured people for our platform. So if you started an account with us and do videos, we will help leverage your page and expedite you to have a following and things of that nature before or over everybody else that's coming in.
Yeah.
So and how I knew that they were contacting multiple, because people that I knew that had pretty decent followings and we talk, some of us talking and our associates. So they were telling me, hey, what's this TikTok thing? You know anything about this? And it was my buddy T Murph, who's out of Chicago. He's like a professional stand-up comedian. He's been on Comedy Central, but he knows me personally, and he knows I know the internet world, if that makes sense. So where he might not be as popular as me on social media, he has the professional, like he's professional on a whole nother level with the stand-up. Like he's where I want to be. Like he's shaking hands with television networks and execs. I'm on like the other side of, so basically like he wants what I have, and I want what he has, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But nevertheless, yeah, so they reached out to him. They reached out to, all of us pretty much. Anybody that has over like 70,000 followers and like consistent, they reached out to. And, I didn't take it serious. And next thing you know, TikTok is everywhere. So I'm definitely about to embark and just see what I can do with it.
And I'll definitely be on the lookout for that. Omar, thank you so much for joining us today. For those of you listening, follow at I am Omar Terrell, aka Hilarious Omar, on social media platforms. Also, thank you for the support. Thank you for listening. We hope that you learn and grow with us and beyond.